This episode of Getting Geeky with Game Relief is proudly being powered by two different games. The first one is No Escape from OOMM Games, and the second one is Stupid Users beta card game from Dent Games. First off, like I said, from OOMM Games, board games for everyone, is No Escape. Can you escape Titan Station? No Escape is a fast-paced strategic maze building tile game for 2 to 8 players. Use actions against each other, play maze tiles to increase the maze for your opponents, and move using a creative dice system. A game takes approximately 30 minutes, it has easy setup and takedown times, making it an ideal game for travel or family events. Be the first to find the escape pad. For everyone else, there is No Escape, launching to a Kickstarter near you this week, the 30th of August to be exact. The other game is Stupid Users beta card game by Dent Ventures, and this one is launching to a Kickstarter near you on the 4th of September. Beta is a unique, fast-paced, ever-changing item looting, army building card game with some awesome graphics. Actually has a comic book involved and a lot of nostalgia. I will have both the creators on later on this week, so watch out for that. And once again, they are proudly powering this episode of Getting Geeky with Game Relief. Now, on with the show, shall we?
Getting Geeky with Gamer Leaf, the podcast in which one man strives to level up his geekhood and helping you do the same, one battle at a time. Now, let's get geeky with Gamer Leaf.
Hang on until after Kickstarter Corner to catch an interview in which we talk to somebody about their new game that is launching to Kickstarter today. And then after the interview, hang on to find out about a worldwide giveaway that we're doing with the Giveaway Geek and a few other people. Now let's get on with Kickstarter Corner.
What is this place? What is it doing here in the Leaf's computer? Oh, it's Kickstarter Corner with the Leafs.
We've got some great games on Kickstarter still. Do you like baseball? Then definitely check out All-Star Lineup Baseball, fast-paced tabletop baseball. All-Star Lineup Baseball, fast-paced, head-to-head, or solo baseball action on your tabletop. They've surpassed their goal by over 200%, and there's still 3 days to go. They end this Friday, the 31st of August. So definitely check out All-Star Lineup Baseball, fast-paced tabletop baseball on a Kickstarter near you. We'll make sure to leave links in the show notes, just like usual. Next, do you like role-playing? If you do, definitely check out Dark Naga, OSR Haunting of Hastur modules. All 5 parts of the Haunting of Hastur series in print for the OSR models, old school rules. We had him as well as the creator of All-Star Baseball on previous shows, so you can always go back and listen to those. Haunting of Hastur only has 5 days left to fund. They're, $88, let's see here. They're $188 away from their goal, and there's still 5 days to jump in on this. Let's go ahead and see if we can make this game become a reality before funding closes up on the 2nd of September, this Sunday. So if you like role-playing games, definitely go ahead and check that out. Dark Naga, OSR Haunting of Hastur modules in OSR. Next, if you still like role-playing games, this one reached its goal a while back ago and is still going strong. It's called Afterverse, Sci-Fi Tabletop RPG. Afterverse is a sci-fi tabletop RPG featuring an expansive and versatile world and the D6 bank game system. We had Ray, the creator, on a while back ago, and you still have 7 days to get in on the fun of this one, as it has reached its goal, like I just said. Can you pat your belly and rub your tummy and recite all of the planets in the solar system with time running down? Do you like laughing with others while they try to complete other fun and bizarre tasks? Then you definitely want to check out Survival of the Dummies, a party game for underachievers. In this trivia-based party game, teams take turns answering questions while being distracted by ridiculous or frustrating instructions. Back the full game on Kickstarter or try it before you pledge for a free print-at-home demo at www.survivalofthedummies.com/subscribe. So definitely check that one out. It's on Kickstarter through Saturday the 8th of September, so about 11 days to go. I hope they reach their goals. So let's go ahead and give Survival of the Dummies, a party game for underachievers, a little bit of lovin'. If you missed it, go back and listen, or at least watch the Kickstarter video. It was amazing. Next, you may not have heard this one, but hopefully you have. It's Auteur Designs. It's a casual card game about collecting paintings and outwitting your opponents. AUTEUR Designs on Kickstarter for another 2 weeks. They're a little bit away from their goal, less than $400, so let's go ahead and help them out. This one's going through Tuesday, the 11th of September. The artwork is amazing. It's like old art that you would see in museums. That's what it looks like, yeah. But it looks really awesome, so definitely check out Auteur Designs. And next, Barbarian Leaf was gushing over this a few days ago, is Battle Bosses. Battle Bosses is a multiplayer miniature battle arena game for 2 to 6 players, where each player controls an epic boss and their minions. Definitely check this one out on the Kickstarters through Friday the 14th of September, so 17 days to go. Some awesome miniatures, like we said, Cthulhu, robots, and all kinds of awesome ones. Plus, they all have minions to go along with them, so definitely check out Battle Bosses. Next, did you ever play Truth or Dare growing up? I know I did. This one's a strategic party game in that same genre. It's for players perform challenges to earn badonka dollars. The most money after 60 to 90 minutes wins. They reach their goal and there's still 19 days to go as they end on Sunday the 16th of September. Being a family-friendly podcast and all, the one that we can get behind is their family-friendly version, which is Option 1. Option 1, play the family-friendly way. Play with the green challenge deck only by removing the jacked-up cards and excluding the jackwagon deck. Our family-friendly version, acceptable for teenagers, 13 to adult. Some parental caution strongly suggested. Next, do you like zombies? Well, if you missed our episode yesterday, definitely go back and listen to that. But Zoms, a half-brain card game. It's a fast, fun, zombie-themed, retro-style card game featuring a flying pig and a unicorn riding a tank. They've also got a comic to go along with Zoms, so definitely check this one out. Artwork reminds us of, and they got their inspiration a little bit from, the Garbage Pail Kids from back in the 90s. This one has another 24 days to go, so why not show it a little love and make it part of your game collection at home as it goes through Friday the 21st of September. Now, let's jump into the interview we had with the game that just barely is about to launch on Kickstarter, depending on when you listen to this. And remember to hang on until after the interview to find out about a giveaway we're doing with the Giveaway Geek and some other awesome content creators. Now, you join Gamer Leaf, or you now join me and my special guest in this interview already in progress.
Now, let's get geeky with Gamer Leaf.
Your story begins with you surviving an attack from crazed meeples. You stumble upon what appears to be an empty farmhouse. Once you have entered the farmhouse, you start to gather items from each of the rooms, looking for anything that will help you survive the night. Can you make it to the next day without being bitten or eaten? How long can you survive?
Did that sound familiar to you guys? It didn't to me neither, but this is Night of the Living Meeples, a game that has already or is about to launch on Kickstarter. And tonight we're lucky enough to have on the creator mastermind behind this great game, Benjamin. Is that correct, Ben? Is that how you fall in line with Night of the Living Meeples?
Yeah, I do.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us on Getting Geeky with Gamer Leaf, especially with such short notice.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
Now, before we get into this game and everything, let's rewind a little bit. How did you get into playing tabletop board games and whatnot?
Well, I've been a closet nerd all my life. And about 2000, I met some friends that I worked with, and they were into D&D, and so I was like, well, that's kind of weird. I'll try it. And then that's kind of how I broke into the gaming. And then it was every 2 days a week we'd play D&D, and then we branched off into board games, and so ever since then I've been just an avid board game nerd.
And I imagine you were able to play somewhere beside your closet?
Yeah, we played at my friend's house.
So that's awesome. So at the current time, besides any of your games, what would you say your favorite game is currently?
My favorite game is Acrim Horror.
I think I want to say I've heard of that. I don't know. It might even be on our shelves, but we have so many games that we've yet to get to the table. Perhaps there's somebody else out there like me. What can you tell us about that game, Benjamin?
That one's it's a co-op. It's about you're trying to stop demons from invading in the town of Akram, and it's actually really fun. It's a very serious game. It's intense and it's deep, and it takes hours to complete.
Is it a co-op or a take that? Maybe you already answered that. I forget.
It's a co-op. It's a co-op. Yeah.
Awesome. So do you prefer co-op, or what's your favorite kind of game? Well, I guess that's your favorite game currently. So do you like co-ops best?
Yeah, I like co-ops, but I also like another one of my favorites is Smash Up. Gosh, I love Smash Up. I like I'm a competitive person, so I always enjoy trying to beat my friends.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm the same way. We really like the take that games or try to beat each other. Except at our house, usually I'm the one that ends up losing the games, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, my wife is a big Munchkins fan, so we have about 9-10 Munchkin games, and I usually get beat on those.
Yeah, I've yet to play Munchkin, but before we got into what tabletop board gaming is today, or what we have found out it was after a while, I was big into collecting Uno, so we have a bunch of Uno games.
Uno's a fun game.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I really like it. We had all kinds of Unos with, I guess they have special abilities or they're different things that they had or whatnot. Recently played a game. Actually, they have a rendition or a different version of it on Kickstarter currently. It's called Crazier Eights.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was. You had a podcast about that.
Yeah. We just barely launched that one after I got up the gall to go ahead and put in the review or whatnot. Usually I'm not that scared to get them up, but for some reason I really liked the game, and so it was a little bit of nerve-wracking, I guess, in a sense. So
right.
Letting some of my humanness show, I guess. But word on the street is you have a new game that's either already launched or is about to launch on Kickstarter. What can you tell us about Night of the Living Meeples, Ben?
Well, Night of the Living Meeples is coming out this Tuesday on the 28th, and it's a game where you have to survive 12 rounds, and each round is a wave of zombies, but they're meeples, come from different spawn points, and their goal is to kill you, and your goal is to survive. So you go through the house, look for weapons to protect yourself, and that's pretty much it. You just, you got to go 12 rounds. If you make it to the 12th round, you win.
And is it, let's see, so are you playing against each other then, or you all want to get to the 12 rounds?
Well, it's a solo to 6 players, and it's all co-op. It's based off of the 1968 movie Night of the Living Dead. It was, I went and I did a lot of research, and I found the original floor plans for the house, and I wanted a game that was a survival game, and I wanted it to be familiar. but I didn't want it to be a zombie game because there's so many zombie games out there. So that's where I went with the Meeples. I wanted it to just kind of be a little breath of fresh air.
Oh, okay, interesting. Yeah, because we just actually interviewed. I just was talking to somebody who has a game on Kickstarter currently. I think it's called Zombs. It's a zombie card game or whatnot. But yeah, there is a lot of zombie games out there for sure.
There is. When I started making board games, which was earlier this year, I was talking to somebody and said, these are the games you stay away from. Don't create a Cthulhu game. Don't create a zombie game. And and let's avoid miniatures because those are the three that are flooding the market. And so that's where we went. My first game was a card game.
So nothing wrong with card games or Meeples, I guess.
No, there's not a lot of Meeple games out there, and a lot of people when I talk to them, they're like, "Well, what's a Meeple?" And I said, "Well, it's a blank figure. It might as well be a zombie." So
there you go. Awesome. Yeah, they've been picking up too as well or whatnot. I'm kind of excited. I don't know if you heard about it, but OOMM Games. Supposedly, I'm supposed to be getting my zombie. I forget what it was exactly, but they're Tiny Epic Zombies. Yeah, Tiny Epic Zombies should be delivered pretty soon, and they got like Meeples with that have like items and like also can ride around on motorcycles or something.
That sounds cool.
You like you said, this isn't your first game, but you said you made a card game before?
Yes, actually, this is actually my third game. My first game was just a little prototype that I made at home. It was more D&D based, and then it was my first game, so I gave up and we moved on to 1 Zillion BC, which is it's a population card game where your goal is to get a certain amount of population to win. And it was a super fun game, but I'm learning. I'm still new to this whole game thing, and there's a lot of stuff that I started, and I took some bad advice, and it was a long road, and it ended up not funding, which is okay.
Oh, okay. I don't know if you'd be willing. You don't have to say who it was or whatnot, but I get a lot of creators that listen to this show. What was the bad advice? So maybe somebody can learn from something you learned after.
Yeah, well, one of the main things that I learned was, and it was when I had a company. I can't really reveal their name because I don't want the.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, we would want you to, yeah.
Yeah, well, they told me that it was a great game and you should launch. And they had me launch on a Saturday, and it was and it was my first time, and I didn't know, and it didn't do anything. Like I think it made like $300. I didn't have any idea about advertising. I had no idea about what kind. I didn't know that I had to have a video. I was still new to it, and they said, yeah, let's launch it, and so I launched it, and I think I canceled it. They told me to cancel.
Yeah, but you didn't give up there. It seems like you put it up quite a bit, quite often.
Yeah, I put it up. I put the game up 4 times. And canceled 3 times because you learn, and there's no shame from canceling. Everybody that was on my list that had backed me every time, because I was honest with them, and that's what it comes down to. Honesty, I found in the gaming industry, is what is key. And I got a lot of encouragement from them. They stuck with me, and this last time we just didn't make our mark, and it was okay. I'm not giving up, but it's time to move on to my other games that I have that are sitting on the shelf ready to be put out.
So yeah, so what would you say the biggest thing you learned from the 4 campaigns that you did? Was it the Saturday thing, or what's the biggest thing you learned?
The biggest thing that I learned was pick the right person and make sure that you have the credentials if you're going to give somebody money to build you something. I gave some money to a person to make my video, and right before we were going to launch, he took my money and never gave me the video.
Oh boy!
And which wiped out my whole my whole advertising fund. And so just make sure you do your homework, and credentials is the biggest thing. The next thing is just don't give up. Just because it didn't work doesn't mean that it's not a good game.
Yeah, especially with how saturated, like we were talking about a little bit ago, with the saturation of the zombie games and the Cthulhu and all that and the minis. There's plenty of games out there on Kickstarter. So why should somebody take a chance, especially with all the great games out there on Kickstarter currently, why should somebody go ahead and take a chance on Night of the Living Meeples? Yeah, why should they take a chance on Night of the Living Meeples, especially with all the other great games that are out there on the Kickstarters currently?
Well, and that's a good question. It comes down to nostalgia. If you like the movie, okay, so the game is hard. Let me put that out first. I've won one time. I designed it purposely to make it as hard as I can because I wanted to be as true to the movie as possible. In the movie, spoiler alert, everybody dies. Everybody dies. And so I wanted to make a game because I'm a big gamer and I don't like easy games. And so I created this game to make it as hard as possible, but still able to work. When you're playing in a multiplayer, the game with co-op, you have to work together. And if you don't work together, then you're not going to win. And that's just the way it is. I didn't take any mechanics. These are not new mechanics. They're old mechanics. It's a survival game. If you want a fun game, because this game you can have fun with your friends, laugh and joke, and then go back to the game because it's not something that you have to focus on in order to beat it. It's just something that you have to work together. And so it makes it more of a community game than it does just like a big strategic game.
Okay, awesome. So what do the turns look like? Like if we sat down to play it, me and you, how would that look or sound?
Well, the turns are pretty simple. I wanted to make it as easy as possible. You can search your room. You can search the room, and you can move the furniture that's inside the rooms to create a barrier. And then you can move from room to room. You can only move once, which is so it limits the amount of running around you're doing, and that's the turn. And then after you're done with your turn, then you flip over 2 cards or 3 if you want super hard, and you spawn the zombies or meeples on the point that it's telling you to. It's usually between 2 to 3 zombies or meeples spawn on the point, and then they take their turn and they move 4 spots. And so within one turn, they're at the house. And so you're kind of just shuffling around trying to move furniture in the path so you can create kind of like a funnel for them to come in, and you can take care of them as they enter.
Okay, awesome. So how do we end up winning? Just make sure there's no zombies on the board and somebody's still alive, or how do we win?
Yeah, to win the game is at the 12th round. You just have to make sure that at the end of the round that there's somebody that's alive. There's guns inside the house. There's knives, so you can do melee, so there's melee and then there's range attacks. There's a basement. I put the basement in. I didn't put the upstairs in because I didn't have enough room on the board. So all I did was put the basement. So if I found when I won was that I went down to the basement and I drug furniture down there and that was pretty much how I was able to survive.
Oh, wow. So awesome. So during playtesting, was there ever anything that you had to scrap because it just wouldn't work for gameplay and whatnot?
Yeah. Well, see, I have a group of friends that have their own individual specialties at board games. And I knew that when I take it to them, that they're going to try to break it. And so I take all my games to them and we just break it. And we find the weakness and we exploit it. And then we take notes and then we adjust it. We found that to die, in order to die, you have to be surrounded by zombies or by meeples. If there's 3 meeples touching each other and they touch you, then you're dead. And we found that if we followed them into the hallway, that they would never be able to. They wouldn't be able to surround you. So that we had to adjust things and made it so as long as if there's 4 of them touching in a row, then that's going to signify that you're just going to get overwhelmed and taken. And so we adjusted the combat a little bit. We cut down the cards so there wasn't so much searching. We made some pretty good adjustments during the playtesting.
Awesome. And so when it comes to Night of the Living Meeples, what would you say the thing you're most proud of when it comes to that, Benjamin?
I'm most proud of keeping it as close to the movie as possible. I put in pieces from the movie, like there's a little girl in the basement, and she takes her mother out with a spade shovel, a little spade shovel, and I put that in the game. So I must have watched this movie, 40, 50 times, just trying to make sure that I get everything right. And at this point, it's funny, but when I was a kid, when I first watched it, it really scared the heck out of me. Yeah, it was. It was the first zombie movie that came out, and it was the birth. It was the birth of the zombie movies. And what happened was they didn't copyright it, and so it became public domain. And that's how I'm able to use a lot of the stuff, because it's a public domain movie. Okay,
yeah, you beat me to it. I was going to ask if you had to go through getting a copyright and all that.
Yeah, no. When I first had the idea, I didn't even know it was public domain, and then as I was doing research, I found that George Romero did not copyright it. And it's been remade like 4 times under that same name.
Oh, wow, the movie? So did you watch did you have to watch the other ones, or just the original?
Just the original. I wanted to keep close to the 1968 version as possible, because they made a 1994 version, and then they made a sequel to that, and then they put out a 2004 copy, which they did in color. But a lot of people, like let me tell you a funny story about the movie. In 1968, when it came out, they didn't have ratings. And so when they put it in the theater, the children were going into it to watch it. And there had never been a zombie movie like this before. And so it scared a lot of people. A lot of people ended up leaving. And so there was a huge controversy. Not to mention that they had... gosh, I can't remember his name, but the main actor did just a phenomenal job. Talking
of the ratings and whatnot and the different thing reminds me of when I took my eldest son trick-or-treating. I decided because I like candy, I thought it would be a good idea to take him trick-or-treating as soon as he could walk, and he was doing fine forever, and then we ended up trick-or-treating him until he couldn't walk anymore, and then like at the last house or whatnot that we went to, he was fine and everything, and then there was a candy bowl with a electronic hand or something, and we put our hands in to get candy or something, and the hand moved, and he ended up having nightmares for quite some time from what I remember.
Oh, man. We, last year, I have a daughter. I have 2 kids, and she just turning 4 in a couple days. And last year we took her out trick-or-treating, but she didn't have any nightmares.
Well, yeah, that's good. Yeah, because I don't know, we maybe did a trunk or treat or something once or twice, but like in the last, he just barely turned 15, and so we kind of veered away. We still will watch Halloween movies and stuff, but we really don't do the trick or treating thing anymore.
Yeah. Well, when I was younger, my mother and my grandmother used to make us watch scary movies with them during the day because they were too scared to watch it at night. So we watched our fair share of scary movies.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I was big into watching horror movies when I was a kid. I don't remember anything about them, but yeah, I really liked horror movies and stuff. And it sounds like my son, the 15-year-old Wizard Leaf, it sounds like he likes the horror genre, at least to read and stuff.
Right. It's more of that generation. My nephew, he's 15, and he likes that kind of stuff too.
Yeah, and that's good to see that you're kind of staying true to the old movies. I'm just waiting for them. I'm hoping they're not going to ever do it, so hopefully nobody's listening to this podcast that would have the option. But I'm just waiting for them to recreate and screw up Back to the Futures.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's a movie that I grew up with. Yeah. Yeah. I use a lot of old movies for my inspiration. Matter of fact, my second game, 1 Zillion BC, was based off of the movie Caveman with Ringo Starr and, who else was it? It was Dennis Quaid. Yeah. And that was in the 60s as well, too.
Okay, wow. So, and are you on any other podcast talking about Night of the Living Meeples?
No, actually, you are the first person that had asked if I wanted to come and join it, which I'm very honored.
Oh, awesome. So if I hurry and get it out, I can go ahead and say, you heard it here first on Getting Geeky with Gamer Leaf.
Yep, exactly.
Oh, yeah, for some reason that always thrills me when I'm able to say that, so I'll have to hurry and get it out there.
You're the first person.
Awesome. So, yeah, Night of the Living Meeples. It looks good and awesome, and we'll make sure we leave links in the show notes or whatnot and everything. Is there any dirt about, I know you want to focus on this one because we want to get it backed and everything and funded, but is there any dirt maybe you can share with us of upcoming games after the fact?
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, my next game, I already am starting on the artwork for it. It's called Syndicate, and Syndicate Prohibition, and it is you're a boss in the Roaring 20s, and your whole goal is to take the center of the town, where you'll be competing against other players.
Awesome. Now, is that based on any mob movies or anything?
No, actually, it's based off of a 1989 or 90s game called Mafia that I used to play when I was a kid. And it kind of gave me that inspiration that where you send out you bribe the police to do raids on your other against your other players.
Okay, yeah. Well, since it's still in the 80s and 90s or whatnot, I guess you got street cred with Gamer Leaf at least.
Yeah, right. That's my next game coming up, and then I have another game that will be released in the first quarter of 2019, and this is my biggest game, which I'll be going to Origins, and then I'm also going to submit it for the Lucy Award in Seattle, and that's called Unheard, and it's it's based in the future, and it has it's kind of like a push your luck. Everything is based on stealth. You're trying to infiltrate a building, and every time you do something, you have to draw a sound card, and the more things you do, the more your sound builds, and it builds and builds. And if you go too far, you can get yourself into a lot of trouble.
Oh, okay. And now I have yet to get it to the table. I tried one time, but my wife got me Clank for Christmas this last time. So the sound mechanic, is that similar to that, or have you ever played Clank?
I haven't played that yet. No.
Yeah, I guess there's some kind of mechanic where you can, like noise or whatnot that wakes the dragon or something from what I got from it.
Yeah. This is, this one I was, there's a game that I play, it's a video game called 7 Days to Die. I don't know if you ever heard of that.
I've heard of it in passing, I think. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, that's a game that's a really fun game. It's a zombie game. It's a video game, and it's based on sound. And so, you'll track zombies by sound. And so when I was thinking about the mechanics for this game, I thought, that would be kind of cool to make it where, you can attract the guards if you make too much noise. And so it's kind of like, well, you can do 9-10 things if you want, but you'll build up your sound meter. And as that goes along, it kind of reminds me of the old game Splinter Cell. I don't know if you ever played Splinter Cell.
No, I heard of it in passing too, I think.
That one's another stealth game. You got to be quiet and you got to sneak around. And so those kind of things intrigue me when I'm pulling. When I'm trying to design a game, I like to not just completely copy, but try to, get in that same kind of idea frame and make sure that there's not any other games that are like that, because I like to be a little unique when I'm building.
For sure, yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, especially with all, like I said, we were talking about all the games that they have out there.
Yeah, there's a lot. I think there's gosh, I can't remember how many games that they have now on Kickstarter. But already, I just saw a passing article about it, but they've already raised $80 million just this year from board games.
Oh, well, yeah, I don't put it past them. I think it was back in February or March. I was talking to somebody at work I do a lot of work with, and they said, because I noticed it just went crazy after I want to say it was Cool Mini or Not had a game out in January, and after that it just exploded. And they said that this was the most busy the Kickstarter has been with tabletop board games. And then I also heard on a podcast most recently, I don't remember what podcast it was or whatnot, but they talked about only a third of the games out there on Kickstarter are actually ending up funded. So that was interesting as well.
Yeah, it's not. I look at Kickstarter games a lot. I think it's a great platform for indie developers. I belong to a group here in the Northwest called Playtest Northwest, and it's a group that helps indie developers get their games made. And because I found when I came into this that it was really hard. I was going to school to be a scripter for video games, and I got sick and I couldn't go to school anymore. So I kind of was like, well, what am I going to do? And somebody suggested, well, you already got the knowledge in all this Adobe stuff. Why don't you try board games? And so they said, well, first join this group because they'll back you, they'll help you, they'll give you all information. And if you don't have somebody behind you like that, it's really hard to jump into this area, but Kickstarter gives you this great platform for any developers. Just what I would suggest if you're going to create a new game and it's your first time, don't ask for the moon. Don't ask for the moon. Just go with what you can so you can fund. I found that I've been asking for too much. And that's why I feel that my games didn't fund, because it was just I was asking for way more than I needed.
Yeah, I've seen that. Like a lot of times, especially if they're not involved in the industry, and so they don't know much about it or whatnot, or they don't, like you said, they don't have a team behind them or whatnot. So they'll come on there with, like, maybe it's for a card game, and I see them trying to get $30,000 or something, and I'll try to go contact them and let them know that, hey, you might want to try to look at that a little bit better because all the competition and everything. And
yeah, as a matter of fact, I remember getting a couple of messages from you at the beginning saying, hey, you probably should have a video. And I think that's the time that guy just took my money, and I was like, oh, man, I know.
Oh, boy, yeah, sorry about that. Well,
No. You know what, though? I'm one of those people that I take constructive criticism very well. If I can't learn, then how do I expect to get anything done?
Well, that's a good trait to have. People tell me that that's really hard to do. I've always been one for constructive criticism myself as well. So that's awesome.
Yeah, it's tough. But you just got to get past it and look at, the overall.
Yeah, for sure. So that's awesome. Now, speaking of, I know, I'm looking at I'm looking at the pages. It's not ready to go up on Kickstarter, but per se, that people don't want to necessarily take your word for it, but they want to see what others might have thought of the game. Are there any previews or reviewers out there reviewing Night of the Living Meeples that they can go see what they thought?
I have some reviewers that should have the game by now, but I'll be posting some pieces from the PAX because I'll be going to PAX this year. We have a table on Friday and Saturday night and day. I have 4 hours, so I have 4 hours of table time for my Night of the Living Meeples. So I'll be getting a lot of reviews from there. And
if and that's this coming weekend, like when exactly and where is that? In case somebody's listening and they're ending up there at PAX, how would they find you, or when and where is that if somebody doesn't have anything to do this week, next weekend or whatnot?
Yeah, it's the 31st through Monday. It's Friday the 31st through Monday the 3rd. It's in Seattle, Washington, and it's called PAX West. It's done by Penny Arcade. And we will be at the Hyatt on the third floor, and I'm pretty sure the height is where everybody has to get their swag bag. So we'll have quite a few people go through. They sold 90,000 tickets, so it's a pretty big event. It's mainly for video games, but they have 3 floors of just board games, and you can go play board games. You can rent board games. You can buy your board games and then go play it. And it's just this big, huge at the Washington Convenience Center. It's 8 stories tall, 3 floors dedicated to board games. You get to meet the creators of the major games. It's pretty awesome, actually.
And best of all, you'll be able to play Night of the Living Meeples, it sounds like.
Yes. We'll be there Friday and Saturday from 10 to noon on the 3rd floor at the Hyatt. And then at night, we're going to close down from 8 to 10 on Friday and Saturday as well.
Oh, okay, awesome. So, yeah. And if you get us links and whatnot, we'll do what we can to get everything in the show notes or whatnot so they can know. Now, you sounded like you listened to some of our podcasts, so maybe you're prepared, maybe you're not. But the next portion of our show is called Adventures in Application Acquisition, where we talk about an app, be it for your cell phone, your tablet, your computer, or your video game. And it doesn't even necessarily have to do with Meeples, I guess, or tabletop board gaming, or Night of Living Zombies, or anything like that. Is there an app you use a lot of that we can talk about for a moment, Benjamin?
I use the Kickstarter app. I use that the most.
For say somebody lives under a rock, or they're always going online or not going to the app, what can you tell us about the Kickstarter app?
The Kickstarter app allows me to follow the people that I'm following. And it gives me notifications when they back a new game, so I can kind of get a feel of what games people that have the same interest as me are looking at. So it increases my exposure of all the new games, because I love getting new games, and I love the hunt. I love the hunt for a new game, and so I go through Kickstarter. It's on my top bar. I go to it more than I go to YouTube, and I'm constantly searching for new games to back and get and learn from.
What is the most recent? What's most recently on the hunt that you're waiting to be delivered, to go through the butchers and be delivered to your house?
There's a game that it's kind of like Fortnite that I backed. And I'm waiting for that one. Let me get it up here really quick. I just did Escape Plan. That one funded. That one was one of the most ones that I've seen funded. My favorite one that I'm waiting for is Last One Standing, a Battle Royale.
Oh, Battle Royale. Yeah, I had him on the show a while back ago.
Okay, great. Yeah, I backed him. So I'm looking forward to that one. The last one that I backed was Escape Plan, and they hit almost $700,000 in backing. Escape Plan by Vital Lacerda. That was the last one that I backed.
And any about to be delivered that you know of? Or?
See, I just got a children's book that's going to be here pretty soon. But I think the next one that's coming to me is the Battle Royale.
Okay, awesome. So that's cool. Look forward to that. So that's awesome. Now, so if you own the rights to the app, the Kickstarter app, what would be one thing you would do to fix it or make it better, Benjamin?
I would probably, because from a designer standpoint, I would make the my dashboard a little easier to see. I know when I have, because it holds my Kickstarters up there, so I can go through and I can look at people that are backing me, but it doesn't show me all the backers' names, and so unless I go into an activity, but it doesn't go that far. If I can get a list, because I like to have my list, so I can, because I have a lot of people that follow me off of not only my Twitter, but my Facebook, or if they met me at a convention. And so I like to make sure that I have their names so I can make sure that they get special rewards for following me. So I would make it so I could see the names on my phone.
Well, there you go. Awesome. It's been a while since I've used the Kickstarter app on the phone. I'm mainly using it on the computer. But something I would have them fix, I never really answered the question myself, but because usually people are talking about different apps that I don't use. But what I would fix would be on the actual Kickstarter page, something recently I've noticed. Like if I were to go ahead and click on, I don't know if it happens on yours, it doesn't show up with the Facebook page or whatnot. But like if you have a Facebook or a website or anything connected, if I click on that, it takes me completely off Kickstarter as opposed to opening another tab. I wish it would just open another tab so I don't have to go ahead and click the back button a bunch.
And that's actually a pretty easy thing to fix from a coding standpoint.
Yeah, it used to not be that way, so I don't know why they're doing it, but yeah, it really it irks me, unfortunately.
It could have been just an update that reverted back to the original line that stopped it from doing it.
Yeah, so I wish I had a contact to tell them, but yeah, that'd be the thing I would fix.
Yeah, that would frustrate me too.
Yeah, for sure. Now, Minus coming there too. We don't want to keep you all night, but Minus coming there to the Northwest to stalk you, unless I guess they're at the PAX West or whatnot. How would people go about finding out what you have going on with new games and all that fun stuff?
I have my generic Facebook page for my business, Northwest Games. And, people can go there, and I regularly update and put all my artwork up there first. One of my challenges is that I'm colorblind. So I have to reach out to the public a lot and say, hey, does this look good? Does this look good? Especially if my wife's busy, which she is. And I do a lot of posting for artwork. And my website will be up this Sunday. I had to switch hosting servers, so it's down. But there I'll have updates and stuff like that.
Okay, and if you get us links to all those shows and whatnot, yeah, like I said, I don't want to keep you all night, but you just brought up another thing. So with the color blinding and stuff, is that a difficult thing in gaming or whatnot, and creating a game? Because the reason I ask is one of my favorite games is Splendor, but we don't have a lot of lighting in our room where we play games, so a lot of times I can get confused between the green and the blue because the shapes kind of look the same.
Right. Yeah, it's challenging. It really is. When I play any game, I have to make sure that I'm either a bright color that everybody asks me, well, which ones can you see? And so because I have a strong color blindness where I actually have two versions of it. So like I always explain it that when I see a rainbow, I see two colors. That's it. Yeah, so everything blends in. So when I design games, I stick to a lot of whites and a lot of blacks. And then my wife comes in and says, oh, okay, well, let's make it this color and this color. And then I just have to assume that she's not making everything pink. Yeah. No, I can't see pink. I can't see pink. I can't see brown, green. Yellow looks green. They all blend into one pretty much.
Well, that's gonna be rough. At least looking at what you have up on the page, at least I don't see any pink on the Night of the Living Meeples picture that's up there.
No, I was lucky. I sampled the colors from the actual posters. So I wanted to keep it true to the feel, and I found the font that they used. So I wanted to really just keep it, to keep that feel of that older style movie.
Well, I think you did an excellent job, so let's hope this one gets funded. We'll go ahead and get the word out there. But like I said, we don't want to keep you all night, but we really appreciate you coming on Getting Geeky with Game Relief to talk all about it tonight with us, Benjamin.
Oh, no problem. I appreciate it. Thank you very much for having me.
No problem. Hopefully you're still with us. If you are, just like we promised, we wanted to tell you about our giveaway that we're doing with the Giveaway Geek, Logan Chops Reviews, and BG News. Jump over to our website, which is www.gamerleafgo.com, and click on the top of the page. You'll see current giveaway. Go ahead and give that button a click, and it'll tell you all about the giveaway we're doing, which is worldwide, like I said. One lucky listener or winner will win Hitler's Reich, World War II in Europe board game. This was on BGG's hotness list a while back ago. It may still be there, but it was pretty high up. And so we've teamed up with the Giveaway Geek, Logan Chops Reviews, and Board Game News to bring one lucky listener this great game. And it is a worldwide giveaway open through the 7th of September. So definitely check that out. Do you like what you hear over here at Getting Geeky with Gamer Leaf? I hope you do. If you don't, I'm glad you came back, or I'm glad you stayed tuned. And if you don't, we love to hear why not. Give us some constructive criticism. And if you like it, let us know what you like. And as always, if you want to hear about your game talked about on Getting Geeky with Gamer Leaf, make sure you go ahead and Facebook Messenger Getting Geeky with Gamer Leaf or Blake Leafty on Facebook. Or you can send us an email over at gamerleaf@gamerleafgo.com. Those are the two best ways to get a hold of us. And if you like what you hear, make sure you go ahead and subscribe on iTunes. You don't have to be an Apple fan. Just go ahead and create an account. You don't have to buy anything. Go ahead and create an account, subscribe, and then leave a rating and review. That will help even more people find Getting Geeky with Gamer Leaf, so we can bring you even more great content. Now, it's our least favorite time, your least favorite time, at least for another day, until the next episode comes out. So in the meantime, go ahead and get geeky, stay geeky, and bring others in the Geekfold. And like usual, we'll catch y'all on the, you guessed it, flip side. Gamer Leaf out.
Gamer Leaf levels up. Tune in next week to see if Gamer Leaf's luck holds up.